Well, the time eventually came when Moses came to the edge of the promised land, which is right here. He was at the edge. And he was able to look over and to see it. But he had to pass the job of crossing over to his trusty assistant, Joshua. Now, Joshua means Jesus. Jesus is the Greek word. Joshua is the Hebrew word. And Joshua's job was then to take all of the people from here, where they had been for many years. In fact, they'd been there so long that two of the tribes said, "Can we just stay here? We've got sheep here. We've got our family here." And they said, "Okay, two of the tribes, you stay there. But you have to help the rest of us cross over into the promised land. And when you help us cross over and take over, then when it's all over, said and done, you can go back there and that'll be your area." So here they are on this side of the Jordan. They have to get from here to here. So I'm standing at the Bow River, close to our house here in Cochrane. And I've looked and done some research, and the Bow River and the Jordan River are very similar in terms of size and the way that it goes. So I want you to use your imagination a little bit and come on with it, journey with me. In the spring and in the fall, I can't even stand here. The water goes all the way up to the banks of the river, and you can see all the roots that are growing there. Well, it comes right up to the top and sometimes covers the path. Well, this is the same kind of thing that happens at the Jordan River. So when the people finally were given permission by God to travel over into the promised land, they were being led by Joshua. Moses had just died, and his authority was given to Joshua, which is the Hebrew name for Jesus. But they had to get all of those people from one side to the other without a bridge. So how are they going to do that? Well, they kind of remembered what happened at the Red Sea. Their parents had told them all about it, about how God had parted the waters. And that's what happened at the Jordan. They were all standing on one side of the Jordan, and it was flowing the way it would be in the spring or in the fall. They said it was harvest time. And God told them to take the Ark of the Covenant before. Now, you haven't seen this before, but the Ark of the Covenant was a whole lot bigger. But in it, they had several things. One was the 10 Commandments. Another was Aaron's rod that had miraculously budded. So it was a symbol of God's presence with them. So they were told to have the priests carry the ark across. And as soon as they touched the water, dry land appeared, just like with the Red Sea. So they carried the ark and they waited. And as they did, all of the people came across. And just like at the Red Sea, God told them to take a rock of remembrance, one for each tribe, from the middle of the Jordan and put it on the other side. As soon as they had all crossed over, the priests, so there would at least have been 4, carried the ark to the other side, to the promised land. This is the presence of God with them, right in this box. And they used their 12 rocks to erect an altar. Now think about it, it would have been a whole lot bigger then. So it would have been something that people would have seen. And the whole purpose was so that their children would remember that God had helped them cross over the Jordan River into the promised land. As soon as the ark of the Lord was over in the promised land, the Jordan River began to flow once more, and the channel was filled with water, just the way it had been at the Red Sea. So these rocks are a reminder of God's faithfulness and his provision. What does he say to us? I will be with you and not forsake you. Be strong and very courageous. That's what the people needed. They needed to hear that. Those were the words from God. Many years later, a descendant, Jesus, was in Nazareth, and it was time for him to begin his public ministry. And guess what he did? He went down to the Jordan to be baptized. I don't think it was a coincidence. It was public confirmation of his call and what was going to be expected of him. And Jesus crossed over the Jordan to the other side into the wilderness. And when Jesus came out of the Jordan after his baptism, he heard these words, "This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased."